Some people say it's nothing to do with compulsion, it's all down to technique, that the uniquely mysterious quality of Vermeer's art is thanks to his use of lenses. And you do meet the most unlikely people in the strange world of Vermeer vision.
Well, you'll probably know better than to take our word for anything by now. This is an exact reconstruction of the music lesson and the room which Vermeer used as his studio. But not only is it the first time that this room has been reconstructed, it's also the
What do Vermeer's working methods tell us about his mind? I watched back some old footage from the BBC archive on my hotel telly. Nobody's gone to greater lengths to prove that Vermeer used lenses than Dr. Philip Stedman.
That's right, and it's not just me who thinks that. Writers on Vermeer generally think that he used an instrument rather like this, a camera obscura. And this is one I've made.
There's no documentary evidence to back up these theories, but I think there is something suggestive in the idea that Vermeer might have seen a world transfigured from the confines of a darkened box.
Will Vermeer be there working? Well, we'll see where he's working. This cubicle here is his camera obscura.
And it is a working method suited to a man with an obsession.
Yes, we're seeing what Vermeer would actually have seen, and he might have been working in a series of stages, perhaps. First,
whether or not Vermeer actually had a walk-in cupboard in his studio, it fits our profile of him that he should have been deeply attracted by the camera's sealed-off world. I think he fell in love with its silent images, formed purely from rays of light, and tried to give his own paintings the same quality. That's why there's almost no trace of drawing in Vermeer, as he showed us in his own depiction of the artist's studio. No painter before him had eliminated line to this extent, expressing everything in terms of fluctuating light impressions. It's as if his pictures are actually made of light, which is why the girl with the pearl still shines so brightly. But technique is only a means to an end. What drives Vermeer is the desire to preserve this look of love. It's a signal. It says, yes, there's a spark between us. It's that transient moment when eyes meet and the world seems to stop. Vermeer knows that it can't last forever, but he can make it seem as if it can. That's his magic, whether he's back there in his box or not. Lenses helped Vermeer master space, but like every great painter, he also wanted to conquer time, and he was too much of a control freak ever to have simply painted what was in front of him.
We have so many paintings that have been analyzed either with X-radiography or with infrared reflectography, where we can see that he very often starts the building up and eliminates. He focuses and changes and ponders, apparently. Might spend time on another painting, starting up a new composition, and then comes back and changes things. One of the figures in the foreground, a woman with a black skirt, which we don't see here in the X-radiograph because the black is not been exposed here.
Right.
But that black dress has got grey stripes painted over it. And these grey stripes have been added at a moment when the black paint had already caused so severe wrinkling that we would say it's cracking. So that would definitely have been more than 6 months, closer to a year after that he painted in that sequence. He moves around with buildings and towers that are not necessarily in this position in reality. So it's not a photographic image. Sometimes you have to change things to make them look real, because reality is not as good as you would like it to be when you're an artist. You always translate. An artist, I think that's one of the most fascinating things about artists, that they see all the things that we see, but they are able of translating it into a new image that looks real without being it.
Can we look at the girl with the pearl?
Sure. It's a much smaller canvas, and as one will notice...
What's this? Is this damage? Or?
That's damage, yeah. All these small black spots shows us where the original paint has been lost, unfortunately. The painting has apparently had a very tough life. Don't forget that she's almost 400 years old, this girl. So who wouldn't have damages in the course of time? After our most recent restoration in 1994, I had the pleasure of cleaning the painting, which means removing the very yellowed varnish. Yellowed varnish, not only yellow, but also with an additive of black pigment to it. Apparently, after the previous treatment in 1952, the general opinion in this museum was that the painting was too bright in color. So in order to subdue the brightness of the entire painting, this yellow, already yellow, but also pigmented varnish was smeared over the whole image. So we had to remove this, and out came the brilliant colors that you see today, plus a number of details. The small reflections of moisture in the corners of her mouth, the surface there is so delicately applied. And you never forget that look. It's one of the most popular paintings in the Dutch school, and it is a figure looking out at you. You are being drawn in there, and by not explaining us what is going on, I think the fascination will be there forever, like the Mona Lisa of the North, you could say.
And I suppose Vermeer understood better than anyone else that if you can make a picture that people still wonder about, and we still wonder about,
and we still, 400
hundreds
years
of
later,
years later,
hundreds of years,
then it's a picture that people won't pass.
It's a painting. They were pictures, they were paintings that really worked, in a sense. He attained the highest level that also a history painter could attain, that they really captured you, and they captured, and they tell a story, but it's a never-ending story.
Another city, another bike. I was trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I'd come to Amsterdam to try to find out more about the daily life of the artist. Looking for Vermeer as a pastime bordering on an obsession has been made all the easier by the internet. I went to see Kees Kaldenbach, who's working on a virtual Vermeer house and has built a website dedicated to the artist. Kees, I gather you've been painstakingly attempting to reconstruct the house on the Oude-Lange where Vermeer spent most of his career.
Indeed, yes.
And can you just show me what you've done? What have you got here?
What we see here is the website, which contains the full inventory.
This is the inventory made after Vermeer's death?
Yes, just a couple of months after he died. By law, an inventory needed to be made. It shows us both the objects and the room they were in, the name of the room. When we visited the Great Hall, we noticed that we have his iron armor with helmet, we have a pike, and we have a lead hat.
A pike? Because he was in the militia, wasn't he?
He was part of the militia.
Right.
And this was a fact which was only discovered about 10 years ago.
So do you think the world of Vermeer's pictures is grander than the actual world that he inhabited?
Absolutely. He lived in a rather large house, but he had to share it with loads of people. At least 4 adults, including himself, 11 children in the year 75. The hustle and bustle of birth, pregnancy, midwives, neighbors running in and out, because matters of birth and death were very much a neighborhood event.
So the picture that I'm getting from you is very interesting. I mean, it suggests that Vermeer could almost be painting an ideal.
That may well be right, but what I respond to visually is not the interior with a certain type of wealth. It's the luminosity, the light, the incredible atmosphere. That's what he made. He didn't make a wealthy interior. He made something far beyond that. And I'm gripped to the depth of my soul when being face to face by such a